Greetings, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to welcome you to my new Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast series. We have been overwhelmed with the responses that people have shared from listening to these messages on my SiriusXM show over the years. Those listeners, and they're sharing my show with their network, telling people about it, telling their family members, their friends, and their coworkers about this show and the impact it's having on their lives. That's the main reason that this show is now #1 for self-help in America, and I'm very grateful. Yet, we realize that many people do not have satellite radio and therefore could not experience for themselves the message. They could not get it for themselves. So we are now sharing these messages with everyone via this new podcast. Enjoy it and share it with your network. And let's help even more people to do more, be more, and achieve more. Tell everybody so that they can live a Wealthy Ways life as well. Welcome to the new Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. And remember, your best is yet to come.
Named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world.
Inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame.
Award-winning singer.
Best-selling author.
And now, here's Willie Jolley.
Everybody, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I'm excited about another opportunity to be with you, to share with you some ideas, strategies, or as I like to call tips, techniques, ideas, principles, strategies to help you have greater success personally, professionally, in every part of your life, to have greater wealth. And wealth comes in many forms. We have financial wealth, we have health wealth, we have reputational wealth, relationship wealth. We have lots of wealthy ways, and that's what this show is called, the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show, because we want to bring you wealth in multiple areas. So I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it, forced upon me, can't refuse it. I didn't seek it, I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer. If I lose it, give account. If I abuse it, just a tiny little minute, but an eternity is in it. Greetings to everybody across America, wherever you may be. I'm excited that you're with us today, and I'm excited that you might not just be in America, you might be overseas, you might be global. But this message is reaching people in places and ways that others didn't think was possible a few years ago. We are all over the globe with this message, and I'm grateful to be able to share with you. Well, as I start every show with God's Minute, that minute is a powerful piece written by Dr. Benjamin Mays, who is Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor, and he talked about the fact that this is a powerful thing called a minute. We must make the most of it. We are blessed to have it. And as I tell you every week, and all my listeners, God's gift to you is life. Your gift to God is what you do with your lives. So I encourage you to use your life with power and gusto, to live it all full, all the way. As I said on a radio interview I did the other day, we must make a commitment to live full so we can die empty. when our time comes, that we should have nothing left in us, and nothing on the field. We left it all. I mean, nothing left in us. We left it all on the field, all in. And that's what I want you to do. Leave it all on the field. So I'm grateful for you being with us. I encourage everybody to continue to send me emails. So many nice letters and notes. Would you do that for me, everybody? If this show is having an impact, let me know. If these messages are having an impact, let me know. Because we love to share them with our other listeners and our other friends and parts of our community, so that they can know that you too are being empowered and inspired. So it's just go to my website, williejolly.com or wjspeaks.com, and make sure to hit the All Access badge. There's an All Access badge. It looks like a backstage pass. Hit that so you can get some of the free resources we put there that empower you. But also you'll be able to email me and contact me somewhere on my website, or just email me at info@williejolly.com. I also want to encourage everybody to go to jollygoodnews.org, jollygoodnews.org, which is my faith-based site where we help people to use their faith to have greater achievement. So either one of those places will be able to reach me. Now, my guest today is a young man who I met about a year ago in Houston, Texas. He came to my event. He came with a friend of ours. We have had a mutual friend, Reverend Kenneth Skelton, who has since passed away. But Reverend Skelton was a long friend of mine, and I was coming to Houston to speak for the Get Motivated tour, and he said, I've got some young entrepreneurs I'd like to bring as well. Can you get me some tickets for them as well? I said, absolutely. And he brought these young entrepreneurs, and I met one of those young entrepreneurs that Sunday morning. And it was one of the most amazing experiences on a Sunday morning that I've ever experienced. Probably one of the top 3 in my life. What experience I had that when I'll tell you more about that. But this young man, in fact, I'll tell you now. I'll do it now. Because I think it's profoundly impactful to tell you the type of person I'm going to be interviewing. So on Sunday morning, I stayed over to speak at Reverend Skelton's church. And he said to me, as he picked me up from my hotel, there's a young man who was at the event the other day who wants to say something before you speak. He was at the event and he was inspired and motivated, but he wants to say something. I said, no problem. That's great. That'd be great. So this young man gets up and he thanks the Lord for strength and health and life, for blessings. And then he said, I want to be a blessing to others because I've been so blessed. And he asked the ushers, would you count how many adults in the room here today? There were 100 adults in the room that day. He said, I know many of you have struggles, have financial issues, that things that are keeping you from living your dreams and being all you can be. I want to be a blessing to you because I've been blessed. He said, I'm going to give each one of you $500. Now, I've heard of people giving money to the pulpit, but I've never heard of somebody in the pulpit giving money to the people. He said, I'm going to give each one of you $500. And then he said, Pastor, I haven't forgotten you. He pulled a check out of his pocket for $50,000, said, I want to bless you as well. $100,000 in one moment. Moment. And it was, I was sitting there, I was just in awe. I say to people, if I had not seen it, I might not have believed it. And afterwards, we went to lunch. He took us to Papa Do's, and we sat together and talked. And I realized that this was not just a flippant experience for him. This was part of his philosophy in life. And that's why I wanted to interview him, because he started a business 36 years old. He's 36 years old, started a business 11 years ago. Broke, busted, disgusted, but he had some strategies and principles that he used to make a multi-million-dollar business and to be able to be a blessing to many others. So, ladies and gentlemen, his name is Anthony Newton Jr. He's the founder and CEO of Kaduceus Holdings Incorporated. It's a corporation providing continuing education to high school students. He's been able to get his program in multiple states. He's created a multi-million-dollar business, and he has built a business that is impacting young people all over America. And at 35, he became the youngest and only entrepreneur in the medical field to have healthcare programs used in high school classrooms. He was named the SBA District Young Entrepreneur of the Year and Young Entrepreneur in a number of regions. And he has been making a difference. He's a husband, he's a father, and he's a guy who wants to help others. Anthony Newton. Are you there, Anthony?
Yes, sir. I'm here, Dr. Jolley. How are you?
Man, I'm awesome, man. And I'm so grateful to have you on so that you can just tell people. We got about 4 minutes left in this segment. I gave them the synopsis, the thumbnail sketch. Who is Anthony Newton? Where did he come from? Tell us a little bit of where this guy came from.
Well, let me tell you, you did a phenomenal job on that synopsis.
All right.
My name is Anthony Newton. I actually born and raised here in Houston, Texas, and I'm calling in today by way of Houston, Texas. My parents, Sharon and Anthony Newton Sr., were from Louisiana, and they decided to relocate to Houston at an early age. And my mother was 14 years of age when she gave birth to me.
Wow.
14 years of age.
Wow.
We came from a poverty background in a small community called Fifth Ward, Texas. She also gave birth to my sister and my brother immediately thereafter. So me at 14, my sister at 15, and my brother at the age of 16. Her and my father, year to date, have been married for 36 years.
Wow.
36 years. So I tell her all the time, I'm just grateful and thankful that, that she stayed the course and gave birth to me, because that there are many other options
Yes.
at that age that could have
Yes.
taken place.
Yes.
But she chose the greater of the two.
Amen.
And I'm very fortunate for it.
Amen. Amen. And I think it's important to say, folks, this is his mother and father. She got pregnant at 14, but it is the father that she married, and they are together today. So it wasn't this other story. This is a family who made a commitment early on in their lives. He was maybe 15, 16, what?
Yes, my father, he was 18.
18. Okay, he's 4 years older. So he was 18, she was 14. They had started a family, and they started it, and they have continued. How many siblings?
3 of us in total.
3 siblings. Oh man. So anyway, you grew up not in a rich area.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. Far from it, in fact.
But your parents instilled something in you. They instilled a work ethic, and they instilled hopes and dreams and goals, didn't they?
You're absolutely correct. They instilled in me unity, and they instilled in me the importance of unity. They sacrificed their youth for their children. And that was impactful for me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here today and able to give this testimony. And that's one of the things that drove me all the way through, was the fact that if they were willing to do that for me and put their lives on hold, then I should be willing to do for them with my life.
Well, you have done that, and you're doing it with the lives of millions of other people, young people in high schools around America, as well as with your blessing people and blessing churches that the Lord gives utterance. You just let the Lord lead you. We're going to talk about your philosophy, because it was really unique. When we were in Houston not long ago, we went to dinner together, and as I sat in his truck, his SUV, his big, first he came to get me. What did you come to get me first? It only had 2 seats.
I came in the Lamborghini initially. I realized there was going to be 3 of us, so I had to take a detour.
That was funny. He said, I'm outside. I said, my wife, oh my goodness, I got a 2-seater, the Lamborghini. And then he said, I'll be back in a short while. He came back with the Cadillac Escalade. Look, we're going to be right back, because this young man is going to teach you that it's possible to live your dreams, and that you can do what he did, because it's possible. We'll be right back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and for sure, your best is yet to come.
We'll be there, thick and thin, and be a friend indeed. You can only call me, yes. Oh yes. If you need me, then call me. Say you need a friend, we'll be there when you're ready.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and if you're enjoying this information you're hearing on this podcast, I want to invite you to get even more great information on my new free gift page on my website. Go to wjspeaks.com and hit the All Access badge. On that page, you will find information and resources specifically designed to help you to have greater success. Free ebooks, music, all sorts of interesting and informational interviews for my XM show. I'm telling you, this is a great page. And why do I do it? Because I've learned that the more we give, the more we get. And the more we help other people to grow and go to the next level, the more we receive in our business. So we want to help you. Tell your friends about it. Go to Facebook and get my information. Go to my website, get my free resources, and get on wjspeaks.com and hit that All Access badge. It looks like a backstage pass. Click it. You'll get behind the scenes information to the special page to help you grow. All we want in return, all we ask is that you pass it on, because the more you give, the more you get. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Have a great day.
Motivated, highly motivated.
And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show. You're reaching this from around the world, and I'm grateful that you're able to get it, whether you're overseas, whether you're in Canada, or whether you're in Australia, New Zealand, wherever you may be around the world hearing this message. I believe this message is going to have a profound impact on you. As I was telling those who might have joined us, Anthony Newton is a 36-year-old multimillionaire who has built a company from scratch. But you got to hear his story. You got to hear his story. And he is a giver. He gave one Sunday I was at a church. That's how I got to know him. He gave $100,000, just $100,000, $500 to the congregants, $500 to the pastor. I've never seen anybody give congregant, but he wanted to be a blessing to others because he'd been so blessed. But there's a reason for this. There's a reason why he's been blessed, and there's some principles that he has employed. But before we get to those principles, and I want y'all all to listen and take notes, because I want, in fact, you to call your friends and family members to turn on and listen to this, or if you're listening to this on podcast, that you're getting this one way or the other, share it, get it out, because this message can inspire people. But you didn't start with the golden spoon in your mouth. In fact, while we were driving that night, you told me, I've had a few run-ins with the law. I've made some poor choices. I struggled. I was working in a dead-end job, and things weren't going well. My folk couldn't see my vision. My family couldn't understand me. Why don't you tell that story, where you came up out of the 5th Ward of Houston, and what happened after high school?
Well, it's
or maybe even before high. Yeah, some of that.
It's important to capture high school, because when I was in high school in my 12th grade year, I was attending Houston Independent School District. There was a teacher by the name of Betty Brown. She was a health co-op teacher, and health co-op teachers allowed you to pretty much go to school half a day, and you can go and work half a day. And prior to meeting Betty Brown, I was working at Burger King. That was my first job, mopping floors and flipping burgers. That's what I did at the age of 16.
Wow.
And I did that for about a year until I met Miss Betty Brown. And Miss Betty Brown put me in the health co-op program. And it's funny because my interest for health co-op, when she asked me did I want to be in it, I looked in the classroom and saw a bunch of females in there, and I said, okay, yep, this is a class for me. So I took advantage of that. Unbeknownst to me, it changed my life forever, because Betty Brown saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and I call that the Kaduceus moment, because everybody's had that teacher that has seen something in them that they didn't see in themselves, and it changed their lives forever. Everyone has that moment.
Put a point there. Folks, this is one of those lessons, life lessons, pearl points. Everybody has a moment where someone else sees in you what you don't see in yourself and encourage you. The key is that you're willing to go on their belief until yours kicks in. Go, keep going. All right.
That's right. So she put me in the medical center. So you're talking about a guy who grew up in the hood. Every day I'd see the hood, go to bed, it's the hood. That's what I saw growing up. But when I got an opportunity to work in the medical center as a patient escort, willing patients to and from the radiology department, it changed my life.
Wow.
I saw individuals that I was working with, colleagues, nurses, physicians, radiologists, riding around in BMWs and Mercedes, and these guys weren't selling drugs. They were working 9 to 5, honest living, making things happen.
Wow.
And I never knew that that was possible until I got that exposure, and that was in my junior year. I was so infatuated by the medical center and the opportunities that I started transporting patients to the MRI department, magnetics resonance imaging, and I was intrigued by what they did down there. So they ended up giving me a position down there as well as an MRI darkroom technician. So I started to work my way up throughout the hospital setting, from a patient escort to an MRI darkroom technician, and finally I worked my way to pharmacy. And pharmacy is where I really got my start, and I was really impacted because I saw the direct, immediate results it had on people's lives. So as a pharmacy technician in my 12th grade year, I worked at Memorial Hermann Hospital. It was referred to as Hermann Hospital back then in the medical center. Now it's referred to as Hermann Hospital, Memorial Hermann.
Uh-huh.
And then I transitioned to back to my community, where I began to work at LBJ Hospital, Lyndon B. Johnson Hospital. And as a pharmacy technician, I prepared IV bags in a hospital setting. And that was something that I never knew I could do.
Yeah.
But there was an individual that took an interest in me again at that level and walked me through how to prepare IV bags for patients in the hospital. After that, I joined with a staffing agency, and they realized my experience in the hospital, and I took it because it was, of course, a pay grade at the time.
Yeah.
So I started to work in various aspects of pharmacy: warehouse, retail, home health, mail order. I did chemotherapy. All of that experience I was gathering in my teens, late teens, early 20s, and by the age of 21, it had an opportunity opened up for me to become an instructor at a vocational school training pharmacy technicians, individuals to become pharmacy technicians. And I remember when I took that job, they said I was the youngest instructor that they had ever hired, but I was committed to giving it my best.
Yes.
And I think that's where a lot of change came about in my life, because you're talking about a person that was in and out of trouble, had a grill. We call it a grill, gold grill in my mouth, tattoos, earrings, necklaces, the whole bit. But I would put that stuff on after work, but then when I go to work, I'd take it all off.
Okay, let's take a moment there, because I don't want to breeze by that you was a street dude who was smart enough to realize that you had to be what we call bilingual and or have a change of conversations. You could talk to the street dudes, but you also understood how to talk to the people at the job site and how to appear in a way that you could keep working and keep making things happen. Now, you mentioned you had a few challenges with the law. Why don't you share that? Because that was hilarious. When did that happen? Was that high school or late high school or early college? What was that?
Actually, that was all during my from the age of 18 to 21. That's probably when I got in the most trouble. So which is horrible. I mean, so I'm pursuing this career, but at the same time being this bad boy out in the street.
Wow. And I remember you said your dad said, "Well, if you want to go to jail, I'm gonna let you go there for a little while."
That's right. That's right. He said, "I'm not coming to visit you, and I don't feel bad because you're there, because I didn't put you there. It was your decisions that put you where you are."
Hold on. That another point, folks. You know, I love that, because your decision put you where you are. But I love something Chris Gardner said when we had him here on the show. He said, "Everybody, wherever you are in your life, you drove there. You drove there, but Don't despair, because you can drive out, and that's what you did. You were willing to change your decisions or change your actions. You may have gotten in trouble, ended up being not incarcerated, but adjudicated for a short time. Not anybody. I'm talking about 30 days. It was like 30 days or something, but it was enough for you to get the message. I don't want to be here. Am I right about it?
That's absolutely correct.
So you were willing to drive out of there and change your life, and that's the powerful part.
That's absolutely correct. So I had two misdemeanors, one earlier, and then I ended up catching a second misdemeanor, which violated the first misdemeanor probational period, and that's when I ended up doing the 30-day stretch.
And your father said, "I ain't coming to visit you. I ain't coming to talk to you. I didn't put you there. I'm gonna let you learn this from this experience." But you learned. Thank God it was a misdemeanor. You were able to not have that as a felony or anything. But even if it had been, you were still willing to change your life. You took a job. You went on to take that job, and go here from there.
Well, let me tell you about that. When I got that misdemeanor and I came out of jail, I didn't share it with anybody, but I ended up losing my job.
Okay.
I ended up losing my job, and I could not find work in the city. So I had to drive an hour outside of the city, an hour and a half one way every day to go to my new job outside of the city of Houston.
Wow.
And I did that for a year and a half. So I would drive from Houston outside of the city 1.5 hour one way, and I would drive back 1.5 hours one way, because they're the only individuals that would give me a job based on my circumstances.
Now,
so
point of context. I've had people tell me, "Well, I'm not going to do that. It's uncomfortable. It's inconvenient for me to take that job or do this." But it's not permanent, folks. That's what I wanted. He's selling a great story. He was willing to do that which is uncomfortable, drive an hour and a half one way, because he knew it wasn't forever. It wasn't permanent, but you're not afraid to do that which is uncomfortable to get to that which is comfortable. That's what I like about that. Go ahead, Anthony.
That's right. I had to prove myself. And around that time, that's when I started going to church, because prior to that, I had really never attended church. So that was around the age of 21. And I remember when I first stepped foot in church, November 2001. And I had probably went a handful of times prior, but me being committed as an adult at the age of 21 was November 2001. I remember it like it was yesterday. And what happened was, this person instilled in me at the church, a pastor, the speaking in tongues. And I used to speak in tongues driving 1.5 hours one way. So when I got to work, my mouth was dry. I needed a bunch of water, but that's what I did, because I knew I needed a change. And if they were saying in the church that's what you had to do to get change, well, count me in.
Amen. Well, one of the things I like about when we talked, you said, "I'm always looking how I can maximize the gifts God's given me. If they say that's going to try, I'm going to try that to do that." Now, if they say, learning to give, which we're going to talk about, the power of the giving and the sowing and the stewardship that you have been able to so wonderfully show. But you then got the job. You got that 1.5 hour job. When did you get to the $42,000 a year job where you had to make a decision?
Well, I had to prove myself. So after you get in trouble, you got to prove yourself. So I was the best at everything I did there forward. I remember when I was a teacher at the vocational school, I kept a thesaurus with me because I wanted to expand my vocabulary, change my vernacular. I was poised to take off that hood, if you will, and move into my destiny. So I started to change. What I found myself doing when I was at work, I would take off, and when I was at church, I would take off, and afterwards I would put on. And after a while, I spent more time at work, more time at church, and I was less out there in the streets. So before you know it, I would keep on my work and my church and never put on the after hour because I was just too tired to do so. I was too consumed with what was right versus putting on what was wrong.
Hold that thought. We're going to be right back after this break. We got more to come, and for sure, your best is yet to come. Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and for years I've told people that in order to have a greater life, it starts by having greater individual days. If you have a great day and you repeat that great day 7 times, you've had a great week. And you repeat that week 4 times, you've had a greater month. And then repeat that month 12 times, you've had a greater year, and you're on your way to a greater life. And it starts with that individual day. I recommend you start each day with something powerful. I call it the pure, the powerful, and the positive. Rather than starting your day with bad news, how many people got killed or how many children got snatched or how many fires there were, I recommend you start your day with something to inspire and empower and encourage you to make this day a great day. We're excited to announce the start of Jolley TV on my Facebook page. Go to Willie Jolley, Willie.Jolley on Facebook. Just go to Willie.Jolley on Facebook and get ready for a great day and a great life. Have a great day on purpose. And we're back. Dr. Willie Jolley with my special guest, Anthony Newton. And Anthony, we don't have a book yet for you, but you are all over the country. We'll tell people, for those who want to maybe learn about your program, where can they get more information? I know you're on LinkedIn. I know you have a LinkedIn page. Or where people, if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, it's going to be at Kaduceusinc.com. That's K-A-D as in David, UCEUSINC.com.
All right.
And also have a LinkedIn. Anthony Newton is my LinkedIn.
What does Kaduceus mean, by the way?
Kaduceus is we've all seen it, but we just don't associate the name with it. It's, if you've been to a physician's office or you look on the back of an ambulance truck, it's the staff with the snakes ornamented around it and the figure 8 with the wings on top. That's the medical symbol for healing. So traditionally it's spelled with the C, but we spell ours with the K. That's what a caduceus is.
Ah, got it. Okay. So you drive back and forth a year and a half, and then you get another job, which is, I guess, your big job. You get to $42,000. I never get you saying it. $42,000.
$42,020 an hour. And I remember that a headhunter called me and said, hey, we have an opportunity for you because we know that your background's extensive in pharmacy. You've taught. You've worked in various areas of the field. We'd like for you to come out and develop our curriculum from scratch and oversee the program. I was ecstatic because I was pursuing college at the time.
Yeah.
And I was doing my undergrad because I figured if I could teach individuals to be technicians, then I might as well go back and become a pharmacist. And I remember that was another turning point in my life. Should I complete college or should I put college on hold just temporarily and pursue this career opportunity? I decided to pursue the career opportunity due to the simple fact it was $20 an hour, and I had never made that type of money ever. I think no one in my family at that time was making that type of money, so I wanted to capitalize on that opportunity.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So you took the job, and you hadn't finished college, but you took this job to paying you $42,000 a year, and then one day you decided it was time for you to grow, but nobody else saw your vision but you.
That's right. When I started at that company, the gentleman at the time, the executive director, had promised me everything under the sun, and I was committed to it. I remember I was putting in 60-hour work weeks. I developed 2 ulcers for the job because I was that committed, taking on stress and everything of that nature. And I remember the individual that had promised me everything had transitioned out, and a new person had transitioned in, and they had a completely different vision. And their vision didn't align with the vision I had established initially with the prior director. So I found myself at a glass ceiling due to the fact I was not degreed and there was no more room for growth. So I remember these students coming to me. Hey, Mr. Newton, I'm out here, I'm working, I'm making some pretty good money, but my student loans are killing me. At the time, these guys were paying $10,500, not for a bachelor's, not for an associate's, but for a certificate, for a certification. And that bothered me. That bothered me because you had individuals that were strapped with their financial aid was consumed. They had to take out student loans, and they had to make payments while they were going through these short programs. So I decided to submit my 4-week notice. And I remember initially I was just going to go part-time, and, I did actually. I started the business part-time.
Yeah.
So I started working on my business part-time. While I was working, after work, I would work my business, and I started reading books. One of the books that I picked up was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Another book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. And the most impactful book that I had read at that time was the second series of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, and that was Cash Flow Quadrant. It changed my whole perspective on business and on life in general.
Wow. Now, real quick, folks, I'm gonna give everybody a gift. First of all, if you ever come to my Get Motivated events, those are the books, some of the books I recommend. Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Greatest Salesman in the World, The Millionaire Next Door, some of the books that have changed my life, The Richest Man in Babylon. Now, and of course my books, any of y'all get my books, you know I'm happy with that. But I'm going to give everybody who's listening right now who wants a copy of Think and Grow Rich, a digital download copy, my gift to you, because that's one of the books changed my life, changed Anthony's life. If you heard Joe Dudley not long ago, he talked about how it changed his life. If you'll go to my website, WJSpeaks.com, WJSpeaks.com, hit the All Access badge, you'll be able to get a free digital download copy of Think and Grow Rich. It changed Anthony's life, my life, and so are others, and I want y'all life to be changed. So you decide you're going to start your company, you start part-time, and then you say, it's time for me. And let me tell you something interesting about this whole concept about the guy who brought you in, promised you the world, left. Same exact thing happened to me. I was working with the school system. The guy who brought me in made me all these promises, was going to get me a increase in salary within 3 or 4 months. He really wanted me to be there. It was rosy. And I go away to a conference one weekend. When I come back, this man is dead and buried. You hear what I said? He had died and had been buried by the time I got back. And the new director said, he didn't write any notes about that, and that's not what I'm thinking for you, and I'm not giving you no raise, and I'm not doing that. And I said, but he promised. She said, I don't care what he promised. That was him. I mean, I was done. But that, let me tell you, folks, that was the precipice for me leaving my job and becoming a professional speaker. I would probably still would be with the school system now if that experience had. It pushed me out the nest. And Anthony is giving you that same story. This pushed him out of a comfortable place. He could have stayed comfortably, probably where he was, not comfortably, but he would have stayed because it was not an incentive base to leave. But that pushed him out. $42,000, he wasn't being able to quite pay his bills, but he still stayed because the guy had promised. But after that change in leadership, he had to make a decision. Tell me what happened then, Anthony.
24 years of age when I got the job, $42,000 a year, corner office, everyone walking around calling me Mr. Newton. Felt like I had made it.
Yes.
Had a benefit package, 100% major medical insurance. My parents had told me this best thing, stay with that job forever. Just ride it out. You're in good shape. You're going to be great. But there were some things that I still couldn't do. I could not travel to the Bahamas. I could not take, extended vacations or buy certain luxury vehicles. Couldn't purchase certain clothing. So I felt like even though everyone was telling me I had a great thing going on, it didn't feel great. It didn't feel great. There was something that was missing, and I knew it was something that was missing internally. And what I decided to do, I remember there was a doctor there. His name was Dr. Aronson. I call him in past tense because he's recently passed. And I remember him complaining one day. And Dr. Aronson, if you knew him, he'd always complain. And Dr. Aronson said, great guy. He was over the dental program, and on his patch, on the lab coats that they were giving out to his students, it had a tooth and a toothbrush. And Dr. Aronson said, I don't want a tooth and a toothbrush. I want a Kaduceus. And I pulled him to the side and I said, Dr. Harrison, what is a Kaduceus? And that's when he explained to me that it was the medical symbol for healing. And I told him right then and there on the spot, if I ever start a company, I'm going to call it Kaduceus. And it's going to signify that I'm not just going to complain about things, but I'm going to do something about it. That's where the name Kaduceus truly came from.
Wow. Not just complain about it, but do something about it. Oh, I like that. I like that. Folks, this is powerful. Well, you went to your parents and said, I'm thinking about leaving my job. And what happened?
They said, boy, you're crazy. It took us years to get to where you're at, and you're already there, and now you're going to leave it. And I told them, this is something that I want to do. And I was about 26 years of age. It was 2 years after. And I had been doing my business part-time, making some money off of it. And I feel like, man, if I could do this full-time, maybe I could really take this thing to the next level. Because you can't get anywhere doing anything part-time and part-time only, expecting it to grow. So I remember what I had learned in church. They say if you ever step out on faith, you need to sow a seed. And I remember this was the biggest seed I had ever sown. It was 7 $58 seeds. I said, I'm going to sow 7 $58 seeds, and I sowed it into a ministry out of Dallas. And I remember someone on the testimonial saying, hey, I sowed a $58 seed and got a $1,000-fold return, $58,000 return on my seed. And I was like, it was far stretched because I couldn't compute numbers like that. And that wasn't the motivation for it, but I just wanted to be obedient.
Right.
It was just out of sheer obedience, and I was taking everything that I received from the church at that time at face value.
Yes.
I was young. So I did that, and I remember I submitted my notice, and I said, I'm going to go part-time. That way I can work on my business a little bit more. And, I got a nudge in my spirit, and the Spirit said to me, I didn't tell you to go part-time. I want you to walk away in its entirety.
Wow.
And let me tell you, man, I was scared.
Sure.
I was scared because I was like, there's no safety net. There's no guarantee this business is going to work. But I attached my faith with it, put in a 4-week notice. I wasn't fired. They didn't let me go. I did my time. They didn't want me to go, and I stepped out on faith. And 3 months later, 3 months after I stepped out, I took my program. I remember going down to Houston Independent School District, the district that I graduated from, and I presented. I remember when I went to the front desk, I had 3 sheets of paper in my hand. Okay,
right.
This is how crazy the story is, and I look back on it and I laugh about it because I had about 3 or 4 sheets of paper in my hand, and I was bold and confident. I'm going in here to present to Houston Independent School District, one of the largest school districts in the country, and I remember when I got there, I said, I'm here to present on a pharmacy technician program to the district. And the young lady at the front desk transferred me to a gentleman. And the gentleman that picked up the phone, I can't remember his name, but I held on to his name, and he told me, you got the wrong number. You need the wrong person. You need to be speaking with this person. And that person was Dr. Jane McCullough. So when he transferred me over to Dr. Jane McCullough, I said, hey, Dr. Jane McCullough, so-and-so said that you're the person I need to speak with, and I referred to the gentleman's name,
right,
in regards to implementing this pharmacy technician program into the high school. And she ended up giving me an interview, allowing me the opportunity to speak and give a presentation, and they ended up implementing my program. And I remember years after, I looked back to her and I said, Dr. McCullough, why did you give me the opportunity? She said, because you made mention of such and such name, and had you not said his name, I would have never even seen you. But because you used his name,
wow, hold that thought.
That got you in the door.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back. You got to hear the rest of the story, folks, and the principles that turned his life from 42,000 to multi-millions, and how you can do the same. This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and for sure, your best is yet to come.
But Lord, since I met you, all that's changed in the blink of an eye.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and people often ask, how did I go from a broke, busted nightclub singer to become a best-selling author and to be voted one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters International? The answer is that I decided to invest and changed my thinking, invested in my mindset, and decided to change my inputs because inputs determine outputs. I heard about a seminar years ago when I was just getting started. I was making about $100 a speech. And I heard this seminar that was creating millionaires, and it cost $10,000, but the guy was getting results. I didn't have that kind of money, but I decided to borrow it because I learned that there's a price for success, the price of college, the price of going to school, the price of education. And there's a price for success, and then there's a cost for not paying the price, the cost of staying the same. And that cost is greater than the price. It's too expensive. And so I went and it changed my life. And I came back and quickly made $100,000. I heard a similar story from Dr. Dave Martin, how he went to a success rally, heard a speaker who inspired him. He and his friends said, wow, that's changed my life. The speaker had a package of materials to help build wealth. The package cost $1,500. And that was all the money Dr. Dave had to his name. Dr. Dave's friend asked, do you think this stuff is worth it? Dr. Dave thought for a moment. He said, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. But I do know that I'm worth it. I'm worth it. He invested that money in that package and used the materials to grow his thinking. He grew his mindset. He shared how that $1,500 investment has gone on to generate millions in revenues. He's a multimillionaire. And he has homes now in Arizona and Florida. I want to say to you, it's time to invest in you. I want to give you some materials that will help you, grow your mindset, grow your future, grow your finances. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire. wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get some materials that will inspire your success and will help you find that there's a price for success, but there's a cost for not paying the price. And the cost is always greater than the price. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire and get the bag, the box, or any of the materials there and keep growing your wealth. And remember, as a man thinketh, so as he is, and your best is yet to come. And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and if you're listening, just joining us, you're listening to Anthony Newton, who is in his mid-30s, has built a multi-million-dollar company, and did it because he used some specific principles. One of those principles was what you just heard, if you heard the last part. He developed relationships, and the fact that he spoke kindly to the gentleman who answered the phone and was pleasant. The gentleman referred him to Dr. McCullough, who then gave him an interview and gave him his first contract. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. First contract. Brace yourself.
Yes.
First contract, first check from Houston Independent School District was for $58,000.
Wow, $58,000. After sowing seeds of $58. Come on, somebody.
and seed sowing has never been the same for me. It's never been the same because I knew right then and there it worked.
Right.
It worked. And that first check, the deal was about a $300-something thousand deal, but the first check that was relinquished was $58,000. And I remember getting that check and immediately running down to the church house and gave $6,000 of it away to the church.
$6,000 right there, bam.
Right there, I gave $6,000 because I was like, if this thing worked that fast, I'm going to stay on top of it.
Amen.
I gave $6,000. I remember I was excited. I went back and told family and friends, and they were like, they didn't share the same excitement that I shared. They felt like I was giving all my money away.
Right. They saw it from the standard perspective, which is, why are you giving the church money? Why are you tithing? Why are you doing that? Not understanding that there's a miracle in tithing. Mark Victor Hansen, Chicken Soup for the Soul, who founded Chicken Soup for the Soul, talked about how he was broke, he was bankrupt, but he started giving, got it tithing, and how that created that whole chicken soup phenomena where they make $1 a book and they were selling at one time $100,000 a week in books around the globe. Anyway, you gave the $6,000, you're tithed, but you had some tough times. You had to stay in your business. You had to live in your office somewhere along the line.
That's right. That's right. I got the second check. It was $24,000, and I remember I was going down, and I was about to give the $2,500.
Right.
And there was a gentleman that came to speak at the church that day, and he said, "Your tithe opens up the window of heavens, but your offering determines what God pours back to you." And I had never, ever heard that. I'm new to the faith, new to the walk, and I just never heard that. But you know me, being who I am, I take it at face value.
Right.
And I gave, and need I mind you, the $758 seeds, the $6,000, that's the most money I had ever given. No one in my family had ever given over $100. So these were unprecedented donations. So what I decided to do, instead of giving $2,500, I gave $10,000
Wow.
to the church.
Wow.
10,000. That was within a 2-month time frame. And I remember being excited about it, and no one sharing the same excitement. Not one single person sharing the same excitement. They were saying, "Oh, you bought the new bus for the church. You put the roof on the church. You paying for Pastor's Mercedes."
Right.
But I remember the pastor saying to me when I did that, "You'll be debt-free in a year." I took it at face value. Well, shortly thereafter, HISD called me and they said, "We got to pull this contract. We don't have enough funds. We allocated funding, and we're going to have to pull the contract from you."
Wow.
And I remember that was the most devastating thing, because I felt like the money was just going to keep going. This is easy. If I keep doing my part, it'll keep coming.
Right.
And I'll continue to impact these students. And I remember I had to choose, because I had purchased a 2-bedroom apartment on the lake. I had my newborn, my son was, I had my youngest son was born at the time, and the mother of my child at the time, she was pregnant with my second child.
Yes.
And I had to choose between my 2-bedroom apartment on the lake and my office that I had purchased. And I decided to let go of that $1,200 a month apartment and move into my $1,500 a month office. I liquidated everything, kept my couch, my bed, and my TV. And I moved into my office, and no one ever knew. I stayed there for 6 months.
Wow.
When my son would come over, we'd play, we'd sleep. At night, they cut off all the electricity, so we had no AC, no heat, and it was cold around the time. I would constantly be sick, got bed bug sores, and the whole shebang. It was just a horrible experience. And I remember in Think and Grow Rich, they made these confessions that you have to put things up on your wall,
right,
which you're believing for. And I started putting confessions all within that office and speaking into existence. I want 12 schools. I want $112,000. I want this. This is what I want. This is what I'm believing for. And I remember I had issues with God, because I felt like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
Right.
I'm here because I was obedient to what it is I felt you had asked me to do.
Yes.
And I remember the movie at the time that I would watch over and over again. At that time, it was the popular movie. It was in 2007, and it was Pursuit of Happiness,
yes,
with Will Smith.
Right.
I would watch that movie over and over and over again.
Yes.
Well, during that season,
Chris Gardner, who we just talked about, exactly right. Yeah.
That's right. That's
yeah.
right. During that season, I remember that I went back to Dr. McCullough and I said, "What could we have done better?" And she started telling me some of the things, how we got in, and some of the things that we could have done to make it better. And I started tweaking those things. And I remember I started calling districts all throughout Houston trying to get a deal. And I burned up all of Houston. But me burning up Houston, going through that process, people were telling me no, but I would ask why. And every time they told me no, I came up with a rebuttal for that no. So I knew when I went to the next person, they could not tell me no for the exact same reason. So now I tell people, looking back on that, you got to fail faster. The faster you fail, the quicker you get past all the objections, and you get the precise rebuttals that you need for those objections, and you can get to the selling.
Wow.
So that was imperative for me to fail fast. So I went through all of those no's, and it wasn't until I made it to outside of Houston, because I used Houston as a test market, but I got to San Antonio, and that's when I got my first deal. Then I got my second deal and my third deal. To make a long story short, within a year's time, I ended up closing 12 deals. Actually, I ended up closing 15 deals. And then a deal came out of nowhere when I partnered with a nonprofit, and I got $140,000 out of nowhere. I took $20,000 and used it for overhead, $70,000 to pay off all of my debt that I had accumulated during that time, and I had $50,000 left over in my pocket, and ever since that day, I've been debt-free.
Come on, somebody. All right, so we got 3 more minutes left in this interview. Well, let me go on, folks, and tell the rest of the story real quick. He's built a multi-million-dollar company. He's got deals with school systems all over the country where he's teaching vocational and technical skills to high school students rather than having them to get student loans when they get out to go to college or technical school. He's doing that in high school all over the country. He has become a multi-millionaire. So if you were going to give in a class, so we got 2 minutes, what do you tell a class of young entrepreneurs, high school students or college students? Here's what you need to become successful. Tell us a couple of principles.
You need drive and determination. And it's hard. It's drive and determination. It's hard to associate passion initially because you don't necessarily know what you want, and that's why we offer 4 programs.
Okay.
Pharmacy technician, medical building coding, veterinarian assistant, and certified nursing assistant, everything in the healthcare field. Because if they're taking it in high school, then they can determine when they get out if it's a field they want to pursue or not. So their first 2 years in college, they're not there with a major that's undecided.
Wow.
So it lays a foundation for those that are ready for college, and it also equips those who aren't even interested in college at the moment, and they just want to go straight to work. So it impacts both. But determination and drive is 2 key ingredients that you have to have if you want to be successful in anything.
Wow. And then, of course, giving. Understanding that as you give, so shall it give unto you. Pressed down, shaken together. Folks, we're not in this. Neither one of us, if you give to your church, we're not going to get a penny of it. We're not in it to try and get anything. We're not doing it to get anything. As I tell people when I speak at churches, I'm not here to tell you to be a giver because it gets me any more money. I get nothing from it except to see you successful. I've been a giver. Anthony proved out what I saw throughout my life. And Keith Harrell, bless me, he wrote the book Attitude is Everything. He said the reason that when he got a big multi-million-dollar book deal and we had started at the same time, I said, what do you do that I'm not doing? He said, you write great books. I said, yeah. He said, but you don't give like I do. He said, you give $1, don't you? I said, yeah. He said, no, I tithe. And he said, God will bless you. If you believe God, believe him all the way. So Anthony Newton is an example. Anthony, your story is just inspirational. At some point, we're going to do a second part, because by that time, we're going to help you get your book out, because your book going to change people's lives. But again, where can people reach you?
Again, it's Kaduceusinc.com. That's KADUCEUSINC.com. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Anthony Newton.
Folks, this young man is an example that is possible, that you can start in the hood, that you can grow up and make some poor choices, that you can be a guy in the street for a while, but if you change your thinking, you change those books, Think and Grow Rich, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you start changing your thinking, changing your relationships, change who you hang around with, you will change your life, change your finances, and change your future. Anthony, thank you, my friend, for being on with me.
Thank you, Dr. Jolley.
You're awesome. God bless you, folks. Go to williejolly.com, wjspeaks.com. Tell Lottie, Dottie, and everybody that we're now on podcast. We're now sharing these messages around the world with people every which way we can to help people do more, be more, and achieve more. And remember, for sure, your best is yet to come. Have a great week on purpose. God bless.
Are you tired of crying and complaining? Tired of feeling like life don't treat you fair? Will you see so many others moving on while you're steady going nowhere? Have you maybe come to the conclusion that there's nothing at all that you can do? Well, just look in any mirror and you'll see who is really truly stopping you. My mind. It's up to every one of us to take charge of our life and to make it what we want. If you think that it takes too much time, think again, 'cause I'm telling you it don't. The fact is, it only takes a
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.